Okay, good morning, everybody. We're going to get started, and we'll start with approval of the minutes from our last meeting, July 22nd. Does anyone have any questions on the last meeting? Move. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Why don't we just
Sam,
do
I
it?
was going to abstain from that because I wasn't at that meeting.
Okay, one abstention, and motion passes. So we'll get into report from the CEO. Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm pleased to report that our June financial report, which you'll hear in a few minutes, will show that employments continue to exceed not only our budgeted amount, but our totals for last year, and that July employments will be over 100, we estimate will be over 150,000 employments, making that the highest employment total for the airport in a decade and possibly in the airport's history. So that is great news. It, of course, correlates with our high revenues, and you'll hear a report on our revenues shortly that indicate that our revenues also are soaring, and again, both exceeding our previous year and budget. These factors, our high employment numbers and our increased revenues, have allowed us to increase our unrestricted reserves also to record levels. And these factors, along with our improved debt capacity. And what does that mean, improved debt capacity? It means that we've been able to successfully fund our capital projects the past 5 years, over $250 million worth of projects completed or underway. We've been able to complete our capital projects largely through grant sources and not through borrowings. That factor, along with our stable and growing pace of air travel, our ability to increase routes and destinations and add new airlines. So just this past week, we added last Thursday, Las Vegas, Southwest added Las Vegas, very exciting day. Last month, Bello announcing the addition of the Charlotte route, and JetBlue announcing Fort Lauderdale and Orlando. And most importantly, Southwest and JetBlue, two of our major signatory airlines, recommitting to our airport at a time that other airports have been notified by them that they are withdrawing. Those factors, along with the fact that, and this is a quote from a rating report given by Standard & Poor's, that we have very strong management and governance has established, and that we have established a record of managing and operating our airport with flexibility to adjust as needed to maintain steady results, resulted in Standard & Poor's raising for the second time our airport bond rating to A+ status. 2022, you may recall that they raised us to A from an A-, and now we are at A+, following last year's Moody's increase in our bond rating. These achievements, and again, I want to emphasize governance, a result of your leadership as chairman and the boards. That's what governance means, and the input of the managers around this room. I thanked them last week at our managers meeting, but when the report refers to strong management, those are the folks that I think they're referring to. They're the ones who keep this airport operational. They're the face of this airport. And they've allowed us to be successful, to go forward with investing in critical infrastructure, airside with runway improvements, taxiways, jet bridges, gate improvements, and landside IT improvements, FBO improvements, HVAC, heating, electrical systems, escalators, elevators. But I think as importantly, you've invested, this board, you, members of the board, have invested in human infrastructure. You've invested in our managers, you've invested in our staff, you've invested in our unions. We've settled all union contracts. And I think that's critical. Morale is up, and it's reflected in the, I think, interaction with passengers. And that passenger experience is critical. It's critical in our mission to achieve the smartest, safest, and most convenient airport, I think, in the nation. And we have committed to continuing to look at and assess our satisfaction levels and the passenger experience through the ACI, Airports Council International, over 6,000 airports internationally. And we've done that through our staff and through Avport's assistance. I've sent to the board the Q2 results for 2024 that show that our overall satisfaction and experience levels have increased from Q1 and from last year. And this is just incredible. And again, based on, I think, an incredible staff, given the enormity of the construction project that we have going on. Our overall satisfaction from good to excellent is 99%. Our overall passenger experience from good to excellent is rated 95%. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I've asked Arturo Garcia, the Chief Operating Officer of ACI, to give just a brief overview of that report.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. So we just wanted to make sure that for sure we can review some of the key highlights of this report that you all had. In particular, of course, as Phil mentioned, we have seen evolving and improving trends all over the 37 key items of the survey. And in particular, there are some that are of critical importance and that we are showing as well above the average scores on all the North American airports that are participating in the program, that are a total of 53 airports, including all sizes of airports, in particular B1s. So just wanted to let you know that in particular, there are 5 key items that the airport is really excelling. Waiting time and security, even knowing how busy the airport has been, how with the construction, how difficult it has been to manage, together with the TSA and together with all the staff, we've been able to really bring that perception to a higher level. And in comparison with other airports, it's really something remarkable. Also, everything related to signage. It has been really a lot of improvement, helping people find their way and passengers really know where they are and how long do they need to get to their gates. And that reflects in the walking distance perception in the terminal, which is really good. And also, just to highlight the cleanliness of restrooms, we know how critical and important that factor is for the overall experience. Restrooms is one of the highest correlated items in terms of the overall experience. With that score, 4.36 is the number 5 in the whole country out of 53 airports. So that's really something remarkable. Again, we have a lot of insights in the survey. It's really been very stable in terms of the field work as well. Like everybody in the team is really helping, together with the ambassadors, together with many, even myself when I'm here, I really do my best, and together the whole team is really doing their best in making sure that the survey keeps running. We get a lot of input and feedback, so by all means, if anybody from the board or from the authority would need more time to go through in detail some of the key highlights, we'll be, of course, ready to provide that to you all. And just to let you know as well that we are, again, very pleased and very thankful for the whole team. We know that customer experience is not just a single point of contact for one entity, it's for the whole airport, including the stakeholders, TSA, the airlines. And this is something that shows how great a family the airport is, and it's showing as well to the stakeholders. So if there are any questions, please let me know. I'm very happy to report great results. Thank you.
Thank you, Arturo. So just in conclusion, Mr. Chairman, again, I just want to recognize our Majority Leader Gastini. Thank you for coming in. County support has been critical. I just want to thank everyone for the bond rating. I've been involved in municipal finance for over 35 years. This is my background. And a bond rating increase is like a good housekeeping seal of approval, particularly when that bond rating increase cites management and government. And it not only cited management and government, it's such a very strong management and government. And it reflects well on the airport, but also on the region. It demonstrates, which was always my goal here, was to say that the airport is the face of the capital region. And as the airport goes, I think so goes the capital region. So it's a good keeping house of approval, seal of approval also for how well I think we are doing as the public face of the region. Joe Biden famously said to Barack Obama, "It's a big blanket deal." So, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your leadership.
Move on to CFO Michael.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. August, always a fun month to do this presentation. It's the busiest month, August. Usually we have around 4,000 passengers. It's under about 1.4 million passengers, which we're at about now. But this August, we're really killing it. I mean, we're over 5,000 passengers through the 15th of August, and that really puts us on a record track for a wonderful August. And what that translates into is revenues. But first, we have the monthly balance, and those are 144,000. But here's the operating revenues for each month. June was increased above the line of budget where we want to be. And that is mostly, well, we have parking revenues. Parking revenues always comes down in June and July. However, that is the highest June parking revenues we have ever had for that month. But where we really make the money in the summer is the rental car fees. And as you can see right here, the big jump, we're killing it, 774,000. The next lowest one, I believe, was 674,000. So I expect that to go up in July and August because the numbers are really coming in strong. Operating expense, yes, we dipped down below. We don't dip as much as we used to. And again, that is the mostly attributed to the security contract for the security people in front of the terminal directing traffic, which we need. We haven't had that issue before in previous years.
Well, and also they're there, Michael, because of FAA mandates that we do employee screening.
And then we have the operating profits. Operating profits, again, it looks large, and it is large because we've had service for the bonds. Year-to-date revenues, we are favorable. A skosh. In operating expenses, we are also, the expenses are we are favorable year-to-date by a skosh on the operating expenses. Lines of credit, just wanted to let you know that on the first one, that was March 4th or no, March 8th, that was being held up. That got paid this morning. So we are up to date with the exception of the 2 June 14th draws that we have, and we have a total outstanding of 5.9 million. As for the capital plans PFC applications, we have one into the FAA that is mostly for our Concord 3 project. We hope to let's out for public comment at the moment. We hope to have public comments completed by the end of August. Then it will go to the FAA. They will have 30 days to review, and thereafter we should hopefully have the approval for the PFC application by October 1st, November timeframe. We had our third use and lease agreement meeting with the airlines, July 25th. Currently working on the operating budget. Hopefully we will have a first draft to you at the next meeting. That's all I have. Thank you.
Questions for Michael?
Questions? Yes.
Just quickly, so it looks like go back to the line of credit chart. So aside from the initial one that you had already described to us was having some issues getting resolved, it looks like 30 to 45 days is about the turnaround time.
Well, we estimated, when we went out for the bid, we estimated 60 days, so right now, June 14th is when we drew it. We should receive August 14th. However, we do have some issues that we have on those two draws that we are working on right now. Those are the Build America compliance issues.
Yeah, I just wanted to draw attention to that within the timeframes that we had discussed.
Thank you.
Michael, the
Yes, sir.
is being cooperative, and he's been good.
M&T has been a very good thing with us. The rate they gave us is really good, because what's great on this, when we went out for bid, we said, $30 million, and usually, not frequently, you have to pay an amount on the amount that you don't withdraw, because they have to hold everything in abeyance in case we do come in. So they did not, charge us for that amount, whereas others did. So that's where it's quite good now. Our July payment was, I believe, around $3,000 because we do charge the daily SOFR amount plus, what was it, 75 basis points, no broken on that one. But we are we're paying it. We had budgeted 900,000 total. But right now, if we have 50,000, we'll only be 600,000, so we'll be favorable in that. But we will have another year to go on this, so it's working out. Thank you for the question.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thanks, Michael. Let's go right into project development. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There we go. Project development. Okay, so terminal expansion, checkpoint expansion, going forward, MLB is still relocating utilities, getting ready to get everything set for new elevator 6. You'll see pipes hanging by the stairwells. Those are just rerouted temporarily for now, and then we'll put them back where they need to be afterwards. They're still pouring concrete. The demolition crew is back. They're working on demolition of foundations in front of the terminal where the whole front face of this terminal was taken off, so they continue to work on that. And that's getting ready for work with that. We got to get the escalator pits created for the Kone's work. Kone just received another shipment of equipment today. They're actually offloading as we speak, and over by the south garage, we're storing the equipment for them. So most of the escalator equipment is here as of today. So we're moving forward. Concourse A. So we have AOW is the board approved contractor. They've been on site. They've been working on some submittals. They've done some walkthroughs with us. We worked with Turner and them, and we're working on phasing of the temporary walls and the setup that they need to do. They haven't actually started work yet. We're looking to set up a notice to proceed probably mid-September and get that one rolling. So that, and then once that gets rolling, we'll get moving forward. Biggest thing is they got to work air side all along with to the right of the picture. There's where they got work to do. But they got to get in Malloy, and they subcontract Malloy to do that work. Replacement of boarding jet bridges. We're currently have that out to bid. We're handling RFIs right now. It was scheduled to be bid this week. We'll probably give them one more week. There have been some very interesting questions, and there's actually some new vendors out there looking to jump into it. So we'll give them a chance to take a shot at it. Access gates. This one comes off this time, and they're finishing up. We'll close this out. Finish this up and get it done. All the gates are done. The big hurdle was over at the tower. The FAA personnel gave us some challenges getting their gates. They have certain requirements that they have to meet and everything, but we got it done, and the gates look good. So this one will come off the agenda. Runway 119 rehab and lighting. So that one has been awarded to Caledonian. Connor and myself and Ray Camilli, Airfield Lighting, we've all been working with CNS, who is the designers, to get the Mauser system done. As of right now, we're going to redo the threshold lights on the south end, runway 1 end, and the 200-foot lights. So that's a big plus for us to get those new and updated. They're under design right now by CNS, so we haven't gotten to Caledonian yet. I'll get to them. We have time. They don't plan on starting for next spring, but we're going to do that. And hopefully in the meantime, between Connor and myself and everybody, we can get the FAA to also let us do the whole Mauser system and get that going. Be nice to get that out of there. Air traffic control work continues. They're in there doing each room. They're going room by room. They have to work at night, putting in all the VAVs, putting in the control system, putting all the new controls for the HVAC. Colette is moving right along. This is on schedule. This is, despite having to work around some of the FAA requirements for security and stuff, it's on schedule and going pretty well. So the main terminal elevator, as I told you, they're going to move elevator 6. But in the meantime, we have ordered the new elevators that we're going to do the MRLs for 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, and 3. They're ordered. So that's moving forward. As soon as they get in, we'll start working on them. 9 is in B concourse, so it's out of the way. We can get that one done and then move our way along. Go to 11, which is C concourse, just get to them, work our way around. And that's separate from the terminal project. These are just making them all MRL, so they're good for another 25, 30 years. Get rid of the pistons and keep them using existing systems and make them go. Airfield lighting controls, airfield electricians are working in there. They have a contractor in there running conduits in the boxes, getting that ready to go. We have all the equipment. It looks like probably mid-September we'll get Kraus-Hein come in and start doing their thing. We've had Dwayne and Perry, our IT people, working because some of it's control wire, and they're going to move over to the tower, get that ready, and then once we're ready, they'll come in and just plug it in and get it going. So that should go fairly quickly. Those are Mauser lights, and those are the ones we're hoping to replace. Those are the new ones. That's what we would like to have when we're done on the south end. On the south end, if we showed you, it looks like a scrapyard. They're pretty bad. They're held together with duct tape, band clamps, and anything else. They're twisted and bent over. They're tripod style. These are the fiberglass tubes that we're looking to install. The newer style. They fold down, and then you can change the lights, and then you put them back up. That's what we're looking to put. That's the north end. We're looking to put that down to the south end. And I'll happily take any questions.
So, terminal expansion project, John, we had a nice in-depth discussion at the CIC last week. I just want to mention it because I think it's important for the whole board to hear. So the big question in everyone's mind is timeline, right? So can you just go through quickly, and Turner gave a nice overview in terms of
And I'll let
timeline.
them do it again.
Just thinking, could you just explain what we talked about last week for timeline in terms of completion?
Yep, so, 2 board meetings ago, right, we put up a timeline, we're still tracking to that timeline, fall of next year. And we are still tracking within the 100 million and maintaining about a little over 4%.
So in terms of 2 year, what do you, I mean, and obviously things will change, depends on what we run into, but in terms of that month of what year, what are you thinking right now? What's the date?
I think it's October, right around October. 25.
Yeah.
Now, we're getting into the existing building and there's some additional routine, some of those right now, but we're actually working with the prime contractor on recovery schedule, as well as quicker response time from engineering, right, with CHA working with our partner on getting the information that's needed to address anything that does wrong.
I think that's all sounds fair. And I think one of the reasons why I'm asking is because I think in terms of the public and in terms of the traveling public, that's the question that's starting to come up. Well, how long is this going to take? What's the expectation? I think that at some point, people are owed a timeline explanation too. Look, you can expect this to look this way, different iterations of it, but there's going to be some things you're dealing with for X amount of time. So.
And understands that timeline and that extension, and that is
And one landmark you're gonna see, Tom, starting in September, they're gonna start setting steel. So that'll get people attention. You'll start, when you come up out of the ground like that, you start putting steel up. It gets people, so that'll look good. It could be a starting point for people.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Just had one quick question. These airline newsletters, this is not related to the project, this is a past project, but I think it's from View from the Wing. They had a big article that came out yesterday on the machines that we replaced at TSA. And I was wondering, have you know, they're saying they're actually slowing down.
I saw the same one.
Yeah, I saw that article too.
I was wondering, because I think I've experienced no delays or anything, but they're saying nationwide that there are delays. Have you noticed any differences related to?
We've had it now for how, which
Oh, we've
one of
had
the
it.
first ones?
Yeah, we're
One of
the
the,
one in the country.
there's the training element of it, because now you have a 3D image that the staff,
Right.
actually makes it more efficient for them, but you have to learn to
Yeah.
do so. And then the other element too is we call it the chute that the bags go into.
Yeah.
Is the size that carry-on luggage is supposed to be,
Mhm.
whereas the prior machines were larger. And so people were, prior to those machines, kind of getting away with larger
Yeah.
carry-on luggage than they're supposed to. So when we initially got them, there was a little bit of that as well of, well, I've always used this bag. Well,
Yeah,
technically
and
it's
no
not big enough.
complaints or anything. I just read the article and thought I should ask.
But
because
TSA loves them, and actually, because we were one of the first in the country, a lot of people have come here to train on them as well. And from up here, one of the best views of how they just take that in, twist it,
Right.
and it actually, it allows them to open lap bags while it's taking them a couple extra seconds on the digital aspect of it. So they're opening less bags, which balances out.
I just thought I'd read it.
I would say it was brand new and I'm like, wow.
Advantages of having the regional director of TSA housed here at our airport function.
I just had a comment on the Mauser lights. I really appreciate your work on that because while we joke about how pathetic they are, if we do not have them,
Right.
instrument approaches to our airport can't be had if we don't have more than 3/4 of a mile visibility. And in upstate New York, that happens a lot. And we've had planes land here because they can't land at other airports because they don't have that.
Got two capabilities.
Exactly. And even when you are coming in on a visual approach, you see those lights, particularly at night, they tell you you're horizontal, they tell you where the
They bring it
runway
right in.
is, how far down you are from the runway, how far you are to the center. So they really, really are critical to every airline that comes in, every airplane that comes in. So again, I know that we kind of, how pathetic, but you folks have done tremendous amount of work to get that system back up in good shape for us, and the best of shape.
So as you know,
Threshold
every week
bars.
I have manager meetings and Ray would give his report, you know, about how he's out there with his Mauser lights. I mean, they're over 50 years old. And as John indicated, I mean, he would be using all kinds of I used to call him MacGyver, he told me stop doing that. But he'd be using duct tape and steel rods to prop them up. Just it makes sense, other than the fact that, you know, it's FAA equipment and it's millions of dollars. And, it was something we didn't want to fund if we could get the FAA to fund it. And that's what we have been pushing. And one of the benefits of having our monthly meetings with the FAA and having rebuilt our relationship with Rob Costa and Evelyn Martinez. Good job by all.
Thank
So
you.
when do we expect to get them?
Well, we're gonna get the threshold bar and the 200-foot bar, which is at the end of the glass pad. That's being designed right now, will be done by calendar during the 7-day shutdown. When we do the 7-day early next spring, so that'll be done. And in the meantime, Connor and I continue to work with the FAA to get the funding to do the Mausers too. If we can do that all at one time, it's a whole new system. And
Part of the problem is
Nice.
other airports want Mausers as well, and
Yeah,
they're just
so
not available.
It's our give and take with the FAA, right, and explaining that these systems are so old and they understand that the importance of that primary runway approach for our airport is crucial to keeping the airport open during the times of inclement weather. I think we communicated previously that the FAA schedule had them in consideration for 2028. We have thankfully brought that back, right, to this time, 2025, hopefully with the 109 opportunity to say, okay, please come out, at least consider. So now we are getting, I would say, very close, at least with that first two steps, right? We got approval from the FAA to get the first threshold at Station 200 placed. And then at that point, I think the FAA is on board to now align their stars to get everything else for the 119 project. So we're just waiting for that final approval.
It's on our monthly agenda with the FAA meeting every month.
So
Top of-
there are supply chain issues as well.
Yeah.
There,
Good luck.
The nice part is we have an engineer on board and a contractor on board, so we can do it as a change order to that, you know, without having to rebid it and all that. So it speeds it up that much more and allows it, so we get okay to do it.
Any more questions for John? Thanks, John. Chris?
Thanks, Chairman, and members of the board. Jumping back to Phil's comment on human infrastructure, and hopefully I won't have to report on this for a while, but the good news is that all 4 contracts that the airport has, the last one being, so CSEA, Smart UTU, our ARF contract, are all under airports, are all settled. And I recently learned on Thursday of last week that our Teamsters contract with Millionaire is going to a vote this week. So it will be the first time, hopefully, the first time in a long time that all labor agreements are settled and that we have to. So that's great news. And finally, it's my understanding that the board wanted a brief update on COVID protocols and procedures here at the airport. So I would characterize it more as our protocol on pathogen mitigation here at the airport, because it's so much more than COVID, obviously. You know, we continue to do everything that was put in place in 2020 and 2021, which is sanitizing and cleaning, frequently touched surfaces, our UV technology, which you still see on the escalators and in the TSA area. Our HEPA, what's the filter size, John?
MERV
The
14.
MERV 14 filter, which is a very, very effective filter in mitigating pathogen transfer. And we do also bring in outdoor air from time to time, not on humid days, but whenever we can to you know, clean the air, etc. And I think our GBAC and ACI accreditation speaks to all of that, which is something that, you know, they don't hand out lightly as far as ensuring the health and safety of employees in the traveling public. So
And we received both of those accreditations. Only 3 airports in the world had received one.
yes, exactly. So I think we're doing very well. We also we provide masks at the information desk, and all the ambassadors have access to masks, and they have them at their desk airside. And you know, TSA deals with masks. You have to pull it down when you go through TSA, etc. So if there's any questions on that, I hope I satisfied any concerns that the board had. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions by the board? All right, thank you. Which brings us to Ellen, Factions and Ambassador.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a concessions workforce of 134 people, and 84 of them are minorities, so that gives us a 63% representation, which is excellent. On the revenue side of things, our primary contracts, which is OHM, HMS Host, and Parodies, our sales for June topped 1.4 million, so that gave us $12 per enplanement on spend. On the ambassador side of things, we're up to 10 tours this year. Our K9 program is very popular, topping over 34,000 interactions. They volunteered over 5,600 hours so far this year and have served on direct assist over 50,000 people. And very happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Helen? Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve.
Frank, thank you, Mr. Chairman. A lot of traditional media over the last month. First and foremost, our airport joined airports all across the world a couple weeks ago on a Friday during the CrowdStrike cyber incident. Just working with the media over the several days, just keeping passengers informed as to what was going on with the airlines and what they needed to know if they were traveling through our airport. The S&P bond rating increase press release went out about that. You heard about the New York State wildland firefighters that were stuck here as a result of the CrowdStrike incident. Got some media coverage out of that and their stay at the firehouse. And happy to report that they all returned home safely the other night. Came in around 10 after 9 Southwest. Coverage on the Avello flight to Concord, North Carolina, as well as JetBlue, adding flights to Fort Lauderdale and Orlando. Congressman Tonko was here last month to discuss consumer protections for air travelers. Some coverage on the Air Force jets that were donated to HBCC. There was some media coverage on the diversions, especially last week. We had several diversions during storms, including La Compagnie, French airline that came in that was en route to Newark. Great story about Millionaire's employee, Kira Davenport, Amelia Earhart Day. She's a young female pilot. Some media coverage on Concourse A, Disability Pride Month, some coverage on that. We talked about the IRA app with a passenger by the name of Malik Ahmed, who recently traveled to Orlando. Malik is completely blind and used the IRA app here at the airport to help him navigate his travels. And we updated some of our ads in the TU. In terms of social media, a lot on social media. The first Vegas flight went out August 5th, and working with the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, they're offering a nonstop flight for two, as well as Blue Man Group tickets and a stay at MGM. So we have a Vegas promo going on right now, so that's all on social. Holiday travel, some stuff on the Warbirds. Did a lot of social media on the CrowdStrike incident. The Hall of Famers were here last month for the induction at the Baseball Hall of Fame, and just a lot of stuff going on social media, as you can see. Discussed last week's in CIC meeting, just staying consistent with messaging as it relates to the construction project and putting out some video for passengers about the foundation work, pile caps, and the recent concrete pours. Continue to assess signage throughout the terminal. And the E-Lot shuttle has been moved back to terminal side. I touched on this last week. This is a new. This is new that's coming to our airport. This is not an app. It's actually called an app clip. Working with Perry and people from Pointer. People will now be able to scan a QR code, and it's a wayfinding app. You'll be the blue dot. You just select where you want to go, and it'll help you navigate the terminal. A couple things we really liked about this app. If you park in the garage and you scan the app, if you come back a week or two later, it'll tell you where your car is if you're one of those people who forget where you park. Also, in terms of ensuring that we're inclusive to those who don't speak English, this app, as soon as they scan it, it'll translate to the language on their phone. So we can make sure we're helping people.
It's also cool. This will be the first airport.
It will be the first airport using this in the country. So in terms of social media insights, Facebook over the last 90 days, 1.4 million on the reach, 97 posts, and engagement of 302,000. Instagram, 31.1 thousand on the reach, 188 published posts, and engagement of 1,500. On the website, just continue to update the construction page. All news releases have been added to the newsroom, and this is the Vegas promo that I was talking about. That's also on the website. It'll be up there for a couple weeks, and we're continuing to push that out to get as many people as possible to sign up. And I can take any questions.
Very busy. Questions for Steve?
Just a quick comment, Steve. I appreciate all the effort that's gone into this. You know, I think about over the last year or so, and even before the last 5-7 years, social media first came in. You really push things well forward here for the airport, and social media is really becoming a place for people going for news, which it should be. So you really kind of brought us up into the modern age here. So also just keep doing this stuff. So just want to make a positive comment. So I appreciate it.
Agreed. Anything else for Steve?
The Olympic one was hilarious. That got shared. It's hilarious.
I don't think Elvis tops it all.
I disagree, but okay.
Right.
I've been telling everyone.
I was not Elvis.
So, yeah, it was Steve Smith.
Okay. Finally, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we just want to follow up on a couple points Phil made going on with the airlines. Obviously, some great announcements in recent months. JetBlue announcing the additional Orlando and Fort Lauderdale flight to start in December for both of those. And that's an airline that when they made that announcement, they were also announcing markets that they're pulling out of or downsizing. So that's always a great testament to what we're doing here in those circumstances. With Southwest, we've talked about Vegas is up and running. Both flights are booked. I mean, they are looking solid for the next 2 to 3 months. They're very happy with how that is launched. Another one that we always talk to them about is Denver, which continues to have some of the highest load factors here. If you remember, that was one that started off as a short seasonal, and then the shoulders kept getting a little longer. When I was talking to them last week, I said, is it safe for me to say this is a year-round flight now? And they said yes. There'll be a few days off here and there. But that's an outstanding market for local traffic going into Denver, but then the connectivity that it provides from there. And then staying on Southwest, got their schedule recently up through February, and they're going to be busy. On the Saturdays around February break and then into the beginning of March, they're scheduled to have 16 flights here. So that's going to be a very busy station, and that will include, they'll be doing some flights to Sarasota on those Saturdays. As we've shown before, Sarasota from a percentage standpoint is our highest growing market, so it's nice to see that get tested out. Really hoping that can grow into something more as we've seen more growth on that West Gulf Coast. With Avelo, they are extremely happy with the load factor going to Raleigh. Those flights are doing extremely well, and that played a role in why they will be adding Concord just outside of Charlotte starting in November. So continue to just do great things with them. And then my last note, and I know Phil will be mad at me for drawing attention to him, but I got a call last week from Hudson Valley that on October 17th at their annual dinner, their foundation dinner, they want to recognize Phil as their regional economic driver. So it's a great testament to everything that's going on here under his leadership, working with the board. As I get more info on that event, I'll share it with the board. I'd love to have you attend with us that night. So I just want to be the first to publicly congratulate Phil and thank him for all he's doing. Questions?
Thanks for the chat.
Any questions for Matt? Go right into action items, 10.1, Connor.
Thank you. Item 10.1 is for the request authorization to purchase one new front mount snow blower and chassis from MB Company under contract E-1194. Total contract amount will be $913,529. Now, this equipment purchase is three items of snow removal equipment being funded from AIP Grant 147-2021. This approval is concurrent or contingent on FAA concurrence with MB Company's Buy America preference requirements and compliance. So, for the board's approval.
Questions for Connor? Seeing none, a motion from Sari.
Second.
Second, JR, all in favor? Okay. Passes. 10.2, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 10.2 is I'm looking for the board's authorization to negotiate a contract number S1196. It's a professional engineering services with McFarland and Johnson for the general aviation apron reconstruction. We put it on an RFQ. We had 5 respondees, and we had a committee review them all. We met and voted, and they were the high scorer in this case. It's a worker down around Millionaire in that the general aviation area down there. It's programmed in for next year for construction work, so we want to get it started, get going on this, and get the design work done. It's the first of 3 stages. We plan on doing terminal apron work all the way around the apron over the next 3 years, but this is the first piece, and I'm looking for the board's authorization to negotiate.
Okay, questions for John? Steve moved. JR, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, John. 10.3, Michael.
Mr. Chairman, we respectfully request to board approve the purchase of one 2024 Silverado 4-wheel drive crew cab. This crew cab will be used on the fuel farm and will replace the current one that is presently purchased in 2005.
Okay, sounds like it's past due. There's no questions up there. JR, motion?
One question, is this of a state contract?
This is,
Any other questions? We got JR, second, Sari, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, 10.4, Chris.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a request for the approval of a contract with Capital Digitronics for the purchase and installation of radios and accompanying equipment. This is the last part of a multi-phase project to renew our radios, to bring them up to a standard that they need to be in today. As stated, the purchase amount is $269,000.11. It includes station equipment, base radios, mobile radios, portable radios, and labor for that install by Capital Digitronics. And this was also purchased off of New York State.
Okay. Questions for Chris?
Chris, do we currently work with this vendor? It's an ongoing
I
relationship?
believe so. Dwayne, would be better able to answer that
Yeah, in
question.
fact, phase 1 and 2 put the infrastructure in place for Millionaire. And we tested it out for a year now, Millionaire, just to see if the handheld needs.
They're really great to work with, very supportive and great to work wonderful.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate
Any other questions? Take a motion. Tom? Second, Sari, all in favor? Okay. 12.1, Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 12.1 is for authorization to accept the awarded federal grant for Concourse A modernization project in the total sum of $10,600,000. This grant is awarded through the bipartisan infrastructure law funding source for the FA's fiscal year of 2024.
Okay, questions for Connor? No, take a motion. JR, second. Kevin, all in favor? Okay, and 12.2, again, Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Authorization is requested to accept both federal and state funding grants for the runway 119 and South River Road construction. The funding split is 90% federal, 5% state, and 5% local, with a local share total sum of $518,159. Request authorization.
Okay, any questions on 12.2? Seeing none, take a motion. Sari, Kevin, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Connor. Does anyone have any old business? New business? Okay, see, no, we're new. We are going into executive session.
Yes, I'll make a motion to go into executive session to discuss any contract.
Okay, and our first order of business and executive session also is to discuss the employment history of a particular person or corporation. And for that, I'd also like to ask Beth and